Hello everyone. Everybody know more or less who I am. My name is Raul Speek. I'm an artist. I live in Solva, in Pembrokeshire. I have got a request for some friends to do some kind of tutorial because this everybody know what's happened during the lockdown. We are at home. See what we're doing, reading, writing, making poetry, cooking, pudding, making bread, or whatever you're doing. Some people repairing houses. Normally, I live in my head. For me, when I grew up in Cuba and during the 50s, we have a ration, there's no food, there's no fuel, and everything had to be queued by. Long hour queuing, sometime to the next day. Everybody familiar with the Cuban crisis missile on 1962. I was born in 1958. That means the crisis was 1962. This went on and on for 35 years. But I used to go to school twice, and my time has been spent going to go to school and queuing. And then when I could stall a little time, I used to lie in the floor and take a paper that I used to borrow from the bread. Do you know this paper who they use in Victorian time to wrap bread? I used to sometimes stall it for them if there were many people. Or sometimes I ask it. Everybody in my village street northern, I used to draw. And was very rewarding for me. I don't know what will happen to me. It has been created. I'm drawing from my imagination. And my mother used to have a cabinet. Those cabinets where you push the china. And when friends and family are coming to visit you, you just have give a glass of wine or a limonada. And those china, they were illustrated. Maybe pottery, made in clays and glasses and crystal. Some of them have a lot of illustration. And when I didn't have what to draw, I draw the image I saw into the china. Sometimes if it was a beautiful summer day, I used to lying in the floor and watching the cloud. I mean, it was a ridiculous thing to do. If I will have time, I will go to my neighbor and collect a piece of rubbish, empty bottle, and take 2 bottles and tie them in the corner and pretend that they are ox cart. Because I used to pull the ox cart from my father with the plow. My father have a plow. And I used to, in my holidays, I used to go to help my dad with his plow and his 2 bull ox pulling the plow. And I used to love pull the 2 bull from the nose. And everywhere I saw a creativity. My eyes went all over the place. When I didn't have paint, because remember where Cuba was in an economical blockade. The thing we have got spare material before the revolution, or from Russia. And the qualities of from China, the material was quite difficult. And I discovered that if I walk in the forest about my village, I could find little fruits. I don't know what they were, but if I squash in my hand, they make a color. And I discovered that if I have got 2 space, what you did, I could mix it that way and making color with iodine. Why am I saying all of this? Because I do believe that and the time we live it today, especially now, it's not quite dissimilar. For me, it's not quite dissimilar to the 1962, the missile crisis in Cuba. There are many people around the world today and children who live in like the Iron Age today. I've been in Brazil, Argentina, Peru. I haven't seen these children doing the same toy I'm doing. I used to do in Cuba. Anything I could handle, I could touch in my hand, I could make something. I don't mean that probably I was a very strange child, but what I'm trying to say is that when you are a child, the value you have got for sin, they are very different than the value you push into sin when you are growing out. And many artists, they just carry on being children. And this one artist is, and I believe it, an architect or a designer or a chef. They are all began when you are a child. And I do believe it, and then the problem we have got today is that we forgot very sooner growing out and getting involved in everyday life. What I'm trying to say is my only contribution for the situation we are in today, where we cannot talk to people, we cannot say hello to our neighbors, we cannot have a go to the pub and enjoy our social, cultural life. I believe that all this knowledge I got when I was a child growing up in Cuba could be very useful. I want to talk today about creativity. What is this people call it creativity? I do not believe in intelligence as such thing. Intelligence people call has no evidence. There is nothing who people call it IQ. What I do believe is that people have the need to express themselves and do something, and you just go for it. I went to do a few as short as possible. If I try to speak slowly because my Spanglish will begin from something who people call when you write, they call it write a blog, and it's quite similar to similar thing when you draw and you painting. You are a visual artist. Sometimes I go to people's house and I see. I hate to go to my friends' houses and see this, a blank canvas. I'm no different for a person who writes poetry or stories or novel and essay. When I see that, for me it's like an abysmal, a void, a cliff where you fall through. And for people like me, that's blank space, very dangerous. And then my imagination immediately fills it with stuff. But it's the kind of artist I am. You are right. Or you go to do sketches, go to go drawing. What you do, you take this, and you take a pen, and you have go look at this, close your eye, whatever you do, and you try to visualize in your head, and then go from your head through your arm through here. Regarding what people call a blog, I do believe that many people who are older than me and professional than me for many years before I get to the point of where I am today, we all agree that the first thing to creativity, is to be happy with yourself. I mean, I am here, there's nobody here now, because if somebody will be here, will be making noise, I will be very afraid to talk. I mean, I'm quiet and I can't concentrate, and I have to be happy to be alone with no interference. The first enemigo of creativity is distraction. First thing, number one, you are happy where you in the space where you are, and then you try to visualize in your head what you're going to do. If you see that in your head, it's going to go from here, from your head, all across to your hand. People who write, they say that the writer block is just the lack of patience, the lack of patience. Regarding the visual art, it's a little bit different, but in one way it's quite similar. I will pause the video and I will show how I do it. Creativity. I do believe that, if I'll be honest, today I believe creativity and talent is word than some people have created to scare other people. There are many words that people use about creativity. But when I'm thinking about, the French call it métier, the Spanish call it el duende, or la magia, all these words that people has been created to express what is creativity, they call it talent. Do not believe in those words. They are semantic. The people who create the word talent and imagination, they has been created to scare the hell of everybody else, to keep you out. I do not believe it today. I used to believe in creativity. I used to believe in talent. But today, I don't believe that. Let's go to the point. Blank canvases, or a blank space, or a writer's block. I do believe that in order to understand what I'm talking about, you have to go back when we were children. Everywhere in the world you go, you see children playing, they are imitating the imitation game. They imitating adult. They imitate what they see. There are no boxes. They are not limited to the so-called imagination. A little girl who take a piece of bottle or a can and pretend that is her mother or it's a gold cup. And you see boy with a broom, and they jump into the broom and they sing it's a horse, and so on and so on. Why is that children have got that power? Because it's really a power we have got. And then when we born, no matter where we are, where we has born, for children it's no different between poor and rich. That's just adult business. And then if you go back, many times you remember seeing the sky, the cloud, and believe that the cloud look like animals. That is the place where you want to go if this is what you're going to do. And then if somebody's going to do a dinner for somebody who coming for dinner next week, and your mother or your father or the chef or the person who do the cook, they go to shop and they choose everything they want to choose by color because they have got an idea. Some people draw what they will cook. It's the same idea. Before you target what you will do, you have to gather your ideas and photograph, books, film it. In my case, I live in my head. I do not draw like everybody else every day, because I'm doing that every single second since I was born. Everywhere I look, I'm taking pictures, taking pictures. For me, it's not necessary to go with a pencil and draw what I want to painting, because maybe I forgot. Now, if I see something, I will take enough chalk for me in my head to remember. And then, this is a drawing I did many years ago. The idea was I was about to go to Cuba, and I saw, well, let's go to the silk screen printing workshop where I was studying, and I knew that in my head. I was interested to make a serial of painting about the Passion of Christ, and had to be with all those elements that I believe that the Passion or Christ should have got. And then, like a little story in my head, like a little movie in my head, I just decided to listen for some music until the moment that music gives me, because for me, I get inspiration for music, for anything else, but more specific for music. And then I have this piece of music who just, in some point, to give me that image. And I draw in a little paper like that. When I went to Cuba, I transfer them and enlarge them with an enlarger, and I print it with a silk screen printing machine. No matter what it is. This is a painting I carry with me for the last 20 years, and it's oil in canvases, that way. And it's done by imagination, because the pleasure I take for creativity is to do with my imagination. Here, no matter what it is. I grew out in Cuba with the abstraction movement. There are artists who were, maybe you are familiar with them, Jackson Pollock, Richard de Kooning, and etc., etc. The first thing I do is, if I want to do something, I show the size and where it's going to be. That's going to be in a reproduction. And it's about a sketch about the place where I seeing who I'm interested in. And it's a piece of small canvases. I'm marking about to see and choose the material for that specific surface. Okay. Many people who are doing watercolor or traveling around the world, and they are travel artists, they use a pad like this. Sometimes when I use that, I use it to do very specific or permanent drawing who are in my head. For example, in this case, I choose that to do a demonstration. What is going through my mind when I confront something like that? I just should choose an upright composition rather than a horizontal, because the idea I have going in my head is that way. And then you see the limit and the border or the place where you will push your figure. It's like imagine this is a box, and you will put another square inside this square. You know, we'll put that in the corner, maybe in here and here and here. Maybe you try to push equidistance from the center. Then when I imagine what I will do will be in the middle of that space. That space, that space, that space, that space around here. If I have more thing to do, then I move it into the top and I arrange my equidistant to the border. In this case, I will try to use a pencil to do a sketch. Nothing specific, nothing special. As